Hello. Whatever color you are, we welcome you. This is a song called Blue. And all you do, don't fault you for being you, and all the things you say to you, it's all you hear, it's all you do. Even when it makes no sense, the way it did in your youth spent, and all the blue felt through and through. While it's true it won't take you out or down too soon. In the swell of the moon, passion rises and rise again for you. Take a trip home to you. Go and find the sweetest of blue. The sweetest of blue. Thank you.
That was absolutely beautiful. Thank you very much, Jean. That is Jean Mann, our guest musician for today. I am Cindy Akana. I'll be leading the service and giving a little talky poo. But I want to say happy Father's Day to all those fathers and father types out there, and even father wannabes. Happy Father's Day to you. Happy Pride Month. Let's hold our heads up and continue to find ways to support our LGBTQIA plus folks and friends. And of course, happy Juneteenth. So my talk today will be called The Spirit of Juneteenth. But I especially happy day to all of you gay black fathers out there, and you know who you are. So right on. You get a really special day today for you. Grateful to have you here in house and have you here online joining us. Let's open with some prayer. Holy and gracious Spirit of all, within all, around all, love for all, we come together today to be as one, to share as one, but also to be diverse, to be unique, which makes our unity even more special. Rain down your love upon us. Rain down your joy. Rain down your wisdom so that we can be the best unity of Tacoma that we can be. Amen. And so it is.
I used to row the lake on summer nights, tie up to pilings, lay my head on a sweater roll just right, look at stars and drift in the path of the moonlight. I was lucky to land in this place and time. There's a crumbling house torn apart, and covering the past, revealing the marks. Some are battle scars won, others a happy lark. They were lucky to land in this place and time. I came around to hear your story. I guess you came round to hear mine. One day we'll write our own chapter. We're lucky to land in this place and time. Tonight I took you out on the lake, tied up to pilings and carved our names, left a mark to remember the days we were lucky to land in this place and time. And we're lucky, so lucky to drift in the path of the moonlight tonight. Hey, yeah.
Thank you so much, Jean. I love that. We each have a story. Every one of us has a story. And it's one of the reasons I got into research into Ancestry.com, looking at my genealogy stuff. Because, I mean, I know my story, and then there's my parents, my grandparents. And I remember talking with my grandmother one time, talking about her grandparents and her parents and grandparents, and how there was one brother from this family that married a sister from this family, and then there was another one of her brothers that married a sister from that same family, these huge families. And so it's like, oh, this is interesting. So I don't know, I think maybe I started 20 years ago or something, and then I put it on the back burner for a while and then got back into it a few years ago. And there's so many more things out on Ancestry.com. Now you can get into newspaper clippings and stuff. So to be able to pull up my mother's wedding announcement, the newspaper announcement, and then even relatives and ancestors before that. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And if they did anything significant, then they pop up in places. So it was super, super fun. I have my aunt, who I'm not blood related to, but I think she's a great granddaughter of Jesse James, the bandit, right? So I researched her family line because it's my cousin's mother. And so just to see where that went, and all of a sudden you see lots of stuff out there because you're related to somebody who they've written a lot about. But one of the themes that came up that I noticed was how many, so ancestors are the people that you're directly bloodline related to, okay? But then your relatives are like their aunts and uncles and brothers and sisters and stuff like that. So I like to go through every line and then look at all the siblings and then take each of the siblings. I mean, it is just so fun because I'm looking for stories that you can pull from what I'm looking for. And so to see all these people who'd fought in the Civil War was very interesting to me because some of them died. I even have an exact ancestor who had birthed his kids and everything, went to the Civil War, and then died. And I'm looking for, like, did they fight for the Union? Because that's what I'm like, people say, yeah, my family fought on the North. And they did. I found one that was on the South side. I disowned them. I don't even remember the name and what family they came from. But I love this whole thing that's like, oh, yeah, they're like fighting for the North. They're fighting to free the slaves. And so it just made me, I guess, more interested in the Civil War. So I went and bought the big book that's 900 pages on Grant. And the whole first half of that is like the pre-Civil War and then his Civil War stuff. I haven't even read the second half about his presidency because I think I'm going to be disappointed because the whole Civil War thing is what I was really interested. I don't know. I'm going to have to read that maybe this summer. I'll get to it. It's 450 pages. Come on. Well, if we don't have the sunshine here in Seattle, I guess I'll have something to do. I need to start reading that. I think what was super fun was we found this paper that my great-great-grandfather, John Rausch Fairchild, he wrote his own autobiography in 1911, and that's when he was like 75, 76 years old. And so he was born before the Civil War, actually fought in the Civil War. And so this autobiography is very interesting to me because it's like, as I'm finding genealogy, I'm actually then reading, and he's saying these names that you're actually finding on documents. And I'm just telling you a little bit about his story because I think it's interesting. As a child, he and his variety of siblings, and there's quite a few back then because they didn't have birth control much there, so they just popped out the kids. Well, I don't think they popped them out, but you get what I'm saying. But they've homesteaded in Illinois, and I'm thinking, you homesteaded in Illinois? It was back then when Illinois was just trees, and so I'm like, that's all like a long time ago, So they homesteaded. So as a kid, he tells stories about him and his siblings running through the countryside and the things they did. And then his father passed away when he was pretty young. So now he's living with his mother. And when he's like 12 or 13, he goes to live at a farm and help out at the farm. And so, he's helping out the family, helping out this. But when he's 14, smallpox hit the area. And so the farmer that he was working for said, no, we're leaving. So he packed up his family and left John to be there on his own at 14 years of age. And I think at this point his mom had passed away as well. So it's not like he could go home. And so he's on his own at 14. And so he decides to, I don't know, we'll see what's going to go on. He takes care of himself, but part of it is he's trying to make his way west, because at some point there's the gold rush that's happening in California. So it's like, yeah, maybe I'll go there and try my hand at that. But he ends up stopping someplace. It ends up becoming a teacher for the next couple of years instead. So he came from a Quaker tradition, very conscientious about, I think, like social issues. And that's one of the great things in his autobiography is he stops and he tells about some of his beliefs. So he'll talk about what his beliefs about the brain are, or his beliefs about religion. And then, yeah, before I get to that, I think the most fascinating part is his stories about the Civil War. So he actually talks about what he does. And there was the Red River Expedition that he was part of that. And so he's talking about generals and fights or wars or whatever that you read in the books. And he's there at them talking about how they're walking through the swamps and, and then actually about the actual skirmish, what it was like. And it's like, this is like my ancestor that's saying this. So it was super, super cool. But I love that he has 2 huge paragraphs where he talks about slavery and his beliefs about slavery. And he's very anti-slavery. And he's just going on about, and he's like, I'm in this war to stop slavery. I mean, that was his personal motivation. And then he says, I want to make sure I say it right. Slavery cannot be part of a just government. And then he talks a little bit about what he means on that. And I'm like, yeah, dude, that's my relative, whatever. So I'm liking that, and stuff. But that's his story, and I'm thrilled to be able to read that and be able to be part of that. But we all know that the Civil War that did end, and with Abraham Lincoln's emancipation of the Proclamation. I knew I was going to stumble over that. You need to put it like in a song because then it will flow off your tongue better, But, all slaves are now free. That's the free thing. And so Juneteenth, of course, is the federal holiday to celebrate the end of slavery. And so we're like, yay, okay, the slaves are free. But you know what? We're all equal. But that's what I want to tell you. Equal isn't enough. Because we could say we've freed the slaves and now they're free to go wherever they want. But they don't have the resources to be able to succeed. You have attitudes towards the black folks that keep them down. That people aren't, we turn into segregation. There's all the Jim Crow, I mean, all those things that came up and around it. And it's not like, okay, well, they're free, yes, but they're still in bondage. There's a bondage still going on. It isn't about just, okay, well, we have equal. It's equality. We are all free. No, but there's not equal opportunity. There's so much going against this group of people that they really aren't equal. They can't be equal. And so I want to say it really isn't about equality. It's about equity. And so let me explain the difference between equity and equality. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because as a teacher, we talk about equity all the time. I work at a small school. I have anywhere from 3 to 15 students in my classroom. And we have with so many different racial groups, religious groups, ethnic groups. I mean, there's such a variety of stuff, and we have a lot of non-binary students. We have a lot of transgender. We have a lot of gay students. It's a small school. Kids that have often, I think, feel anxious for being in the larger schools have opted to come to our school. And when I am teaching my class of whether it's 12, 15, or 3, I am looking at each one of those individuals as an individual. So I can't say, here's my curriculum, and here you all, I'm going to spray you like a hose. This is what you're all doing. I am constantly adjusting what I'm teaching so that kid, that student gets what that student needs to succeed. So there's a couple cartoons images of cartoons that I love that express this. One is a coach sitting at a desk, and in front of the coach is an elephant, a kangaroo, a monkey, a cat, a dog, a chicken, and a walrus. There probably was no walrus, but we need to have something maybe there was a seal, yeah. And the coach is going, okay, so today the fitness test for today is you all need to climb that tree. Points to a big oak tree, right? And you go, okay, the monkey's going to be like, yeah, I'm all over that, right? And the cat will probably get up there. Maybe the dog will get partway up. That walrus ain't going to do nothing. The elephant can only reach. And it's that thing. It's like, okay, no, to measure what you are capable of doing. Here is what you're going to do. You're all going to get to the top of this tree. Well, there's animals there that don't have that capability, that aren't able to do that. So I think about remember there was the Presidential Fitness Award when I was growing up, and we got to do so many crunches or sit-ups and push-ups and run a quarter mile or whatever. And I was so athletic. I played so many sports, but I could never get that because I couldn't do one pull-up. Because I had these long, skinny, scrawny arms. So even though I am almost 6 feet tall, back then I wasn't that tall, but my arms were still just this long, I think. And there's, there was nothing on them, right? And I couldn't do a pull-up. So one year I finally worked and I did one pull-up, so I got it 1 year. But I always laughed because I thought, I'm a better athlete than all these people that are getting this award, but I can't get it. If you put me out in the field, I could throw a ball harder and faster than most of them. I had to serve a tennis ball, oh my gosh, I could whip because of my long arm. I could whip that thing. Or if I'm hitting a volleyball, I played college volleyball. I played college tennis and softball as well, too. So I played all these sports at the college level. And my arm, because it was long and lanky, I could do things that a lot of people couldn't do, but I could not get that Presidential Fitness Award because I couldn't do a pull-up, right? And so again, it's like, okay, does that a sign of my fitness? It's like, no, I wasn't built to be able to do a pull-up. So yeah, I should still get that award. So they owe me like 3 or 4 awards. I'm just saying, somebody owes me some awards still. But what if they had said, of these 10 things, you have to do 6 of them? Or you had 12 things, and of these 12. And so they had a variety of things, and you got to pick and choose which ones you were going to do. That becomes more equitable because I'm putting out more opportunities for people to pick and choose. So if they are not capable of doing something, they still get to do something else. And then they can follow through, and they can be successful. The other image I have is the one of there's 3 people that go to the fence because there's a cool soccer game on the other side. And so you have the 3 boxes along the fence, okay? And the mother gets up, the teenage boy gets up, and the little girl gets up. They all get up on their box. And the mother's just, got on her arms and the thing, she's looking around like, oh, this is great. The teenager's he's got his little fingers over and he can see, this is great, I can see. And then the little girl's looking at the fence going, yeah, this is really great, because she can't get up to get over the fence. So, but it's equal. They all have a box. That's equality. Everyone's got a box. Well, is everyone seeing the game? No. So we need to adjust it. So that what you do is you take the one box from the mother and you take it and you put it on the other box. And now mom has no box and she can look right over the fence and watch. Teenagers there and can still look over the fence. But now the little one's on 2 boxes and they can look over the fence and see the game too. That's equitable. You created an environment where everyone is getting to have the same experience, but what they had to get there is different. You go, oh, that's not fair. She doesn't get a box, but they get 2 boxes. In that case, we go, yeah, that makes sense. But I'm going to tell you about a couple students that I've worked with to give it a little bit more example of how this works in real life with people, because that's where we need to start applying this. As we talk about Black Lives Matter and stuff like that, and we say we're in a white supremacy system, there are things as a system that need to change. And I think if we start looking at what equitable is, it's going to be easier for us to change some of those things and always thinking equal. Because equitable is creating opportunities for people to succeed and not saying everyone has the same opportunity. So there's going to be where people, and that's what you hear people going, that's not fair, they get more of this or you get more of that. I'm like, oh yeah, you're right, it's not equal, but it's equitable. So I want to tell you about a student of mine, Elizabeth. She, in high school, when she was a junior, she was like the class president of her class, because this is a lovely black woman, very big, roly-poly black student woman. Just, she's confident, she's smart, she's got all this leadership qualities, and she's at this high school, but she has this opportunity to be an intern for a lawyer downtown. And at this time when I was working in the school district, I was doing these internships, getting students connected with internships. And so I met with her and I'm like, oh yeah, you're perfect for this. This would be great. And and even though she had all that confident exuding, there was still this, I'm not sure I can do this. It was out of her comfort zone. So we chatted about that a little bit, and I worked with her in terms of trying to just build that up a little bit. Or, I worked with her on like, what answers are you going to give at the interview, that kind of thing. And then after we did all that, it's like, she needs to get downtown to take the bus, right? Well, it's like, everyone knows how to take the bus. Yeah, but she was scared. She didn't want to go down there. So I said, you know what? Why don't I go with you? So I go with her. We get on the bus. We take the bus downtown. I get off with her. I go right there with her. And I sit outside while she does her interview. Now, is she capable? Oh, she was capable. But there was a little hesitancy to wanting to do that. And so part of me wanted to go, well, just suck it up and get down there and go and do it, It's all part of the learning experience. But I thought, no, if this is what's keeping her from going forward because of whatever her comfort zone is, I am going to go above and beyond, and I'm going to step in and do what I can to come alongside her to build up her confidence. So she got the internship, did a great job, did not go into law. But here's what she posted on her Facebook the other day. Life update. And the reason I said that she's kind of the roly-poly woman, because she posts these gorgeous pictures of herself. She is so confident in her body, and you just go, that's what every woman needs to have, no matter what your body shape is, that you're confident knowing that's how you were built. That is beautiful, and yes, show it off. And so she does that so well, and she's always in these elegant clothes while she's doing it. So I love that, because I said, that tells me you're confident in who you are. So life update, I graduated in June 2021 with my bachelor's in public health from the University of Washington. And so because of COVID, this weekend they finally got to walk across the Husky Stadium and close that chapter of my life. Since graduating, I've experienced so many blessings. In June 2021, I started as a research intern at Seattle Children's Research Institute and met so many wonderful mentors. I was then offered a position as a clinical research coordinator for the entire pediatric critical care medicine department, helping conduct research in the ICU. I don't know anyone who does that. I mean, that's not like I'm now the newspaper boy. I mean, like, what? This is awesome. In January 2022, I decided to start emergency medical technician school and fell in love with emergency medicine. Riding with the fire department and being taught by the best paramedics in the country, you never know, I might help save your life someday. I was recently elected as the University of Washington Public Health Major Alumni Council President, working to bridge mentorship and provide career-based opportunities to current students. I say all this with humility because I never imagined that God would bless me in this way. I am so thankful to all my friends and family for supporting me throughout the years. And I think that's the beautiful part, is that, yes, she's capable of all that stuff. And did I have a hand in that? I'm going to say no. When I had a chance to step in and come alongside her when I think she needed it, I did that. But when she talks about her family and friends, there's so many people who have done that for her. And she's accepted that and moved forward and become the person she can be. She's amazing. Not everyone's going to do what she did, right? But she was given opportunities and assistance that she needed to be successful so that she could shine like she really is supposed to shine in this world, right? So I think going that little bit above and beyond for her, that's the equitable part. It wasn't like a big deal, but it was just a little something that got her to take that step, that helped her be secure in taking that step. Do we owe it to people? I say yes, we do. We owe it to people when we had a place that we maybe have to give something up. I gave up 3 hours of my time that day to ride the bus, go down there and wait and ride the bus back. I didn't have to do that. Sure, it was outside school hours and everything, right? But yeah, I think that we owe people that. We owe people maybe time, our resources, things that we have, or opportunities, or I like the idea of resources, to help out somebody, to be able to have them have the same opportunities that we do, have the same results that we get, to be able to look over that fence. So let me just tell one more story about, that was Elizabeth. This is Eli. Eli, when I met Eli, as a freshman and sophomore in high school, I had him as a teacher, and he was homeless. Skinny, black kid that's so super funny, so charismatic, does not realize his potential, comes high to school every day. Even choices that we have there. Maybe when kids are maybe coming, maybe they stop at lunchtime and then get high and come back. But I'm always evaluating. He's here at school. He's doing his work. I don't want to send him again. If it's a habit, then I'm going to deal with the habit part of it, right? And so that part we would adjust. So I'm not going to send him home, but I will get him hooked up with somebody that can work with him if he has a habit of something, because you don't want the kid to go down that road, right, of addiction or whatever that is there. So as he was there in school, he would come less times. He would come high. He got to move into a house with a family, and he was sleeping in a room, and he was coming to school, and he'd be sick. And I'm like, Eli, what's happening? And he's like, yeah, it's so cold in the house. And this is the other thing, with the students I work, a lot of them, their families can't afford the heat. So they are living in these cold houses and sleeping in them. So I went home, and I pulled out like blankets that I had, and like these really cool foam pads, like the memory foam, like, really, really good ones. And I'm rolling that up, big blankets, pillows, stuff. I'm pulling things out of my closet. And I'm like, okay, I can always get more of this stuff. And I take it to school and drive it over to I don't make him take it home. I drive it over to where he's staying. Because again, how embarrassing is that to grab your bedding and get on the bus and take your bus over? It's like, no. I will drive it over. So I get it over there and get him set up. So he's got this warm, comfy place to sleep. And just some other little things that I did just to kind of encourage him. And he worked for me on a summer program in the garden, and you saw him developing. I saw him developing his personality, his drive to want to be good at stuff, realizing what he was capable of doing. But it was still so sad, because I was writing one time where he wrote, and they were expressing their emotions, and he said, and I say, what are you fearful of, was one of the questions. He goes, I'm afraid of people leaving me, because his mom was an addict and he wasn't able to live with her, but she did have his brother with her. But so he was homeless. She's off living somewhere, but she's still getting high and whatever. So even then, that his marijuana use is trying to cope with the fact that he's scared and he's afraid to be alone. And I think of him, that's when he's 14, and I think of my great-great-grandfather, John Fairchild, who at 14 is on his own, and their situations are so different. They're both on their own, but one has the freedom to be able to explore and maybe go out west and discover the gold, and a couple years later becomes a teacher, and the stuff that he got into, where Eli is just trying to survive. He's afraid of being left, of being abandoned, and he's at 14, 15, just trying to find shelter and make sure he has enough food every day. And his mom finally got clean, and he got to go live with his mom. But you know what he got to do the last 2 years while I lived with his mom? He's the major breadwinner. He's the one that's working. So he put his last 4 classes on hold for high school, and he's working full-time, 2 jobs full-time, so that he can pay for this house that his mom and his brother live in. And he's doing some online classes, and he gets handed to me as his case manager at one point in March. And because I had this history with him, I started texting him, and I'm like, what are you doing? Doing all these kinds of ways that, I'm being the friend that I used to be, and talking to him, but not in any kind of down way for what he's doing, but in a way that all of a sudden he starts doing his classwork. He starts coming into the school on his one day off. He's worked 6, he gets 1 day off. He's coming into the school to do his work. In 3 months, he finishes his Spanish class that he's supposed to finish. And he has to do a half credit of art. And then he's going to be able to graduate. He's got a week left, and he's finishing up that Spanish. He's filling out his art book, right? And then someone says to me, yeah, all he has to do is all he has to do is color. He's like, fill out stuff. All he has to do is color his art book. And the thing goes off in my head, equality, equity, equity, equity. This kid has been homeless for the first 2 years of his life in high school. The second 2 years, he's been the main breadwinner of his family. And you're going to tell me that he can't graduate because he didn't take a crayon and color pictures in his picture book? Yeah, that's equal. Everyone has to do the same amount of work. But I'm going, that's not equitable for him. I'm sorry. Turn in the notebook. You're going to get your art credit. And he did, and because he did enough work, I can say that, but it's like, that's an equitable thing. That boy does not need to not pass and graduate from high school because he didn't use his crayons correctly, or enough of them. And I said, that's equitable. So the kid graduates this last week ago. Oh my gosh, this is exciting. Everyone that knows him is thrilled. We are all dancing in the streets. He lives in Woodinville now, so that's why he's online. I drive out from Burien to Woodinville, pick him up, and drive him back so he can actually attend graduation. And then we put him in a taxi and told him to get home, right? But just 3 days ago, he texts me again, and now he's asking about going to electrician school. And I'm like, I'll get back to you in a couple days. And I did some research on what schools you could become an electrician, and I sent some information back, numbers and who he could call, and from Renton Tech to Clover Park, and there's another, Bates, that has electrician stuff. And I sent that back to him, and I said, here's the numbers. Am I going to call for him? I will not. Because I'm empowering him to do his own work. But I'm just saying, this is so thrilling that all of a sudden now he's starting to look, he's done with high school, and now he's looking at what can I do to actually enhance my life so that I get paid better, because my goal is to be out on my own, to be able to have blah, blah, this and that, and these goals that he has. And I'm saying and it wasn't just me that made decisions about the art book. Okay, there was several staff people involved in that. But what we did was equitable. No, someone else probably had to color and paint their book, and he didn't have to. But he got to graduate. That's equitable because it allowed him to graduate, and he's 19. So, I mean, we could make him come back when he's 20, and you just got to color your book, and then you can graduate. What would you have done? I don't know. But that was why we chose to do it that way. We felt like it was an equitable decision as opposed to an equal decision. So do you kind of get the idea of what I'm talking between equitable and equality? Okay. So with that said, I want to close just with the idea of the spirit of Juneteenth. You know, we say the spirit of Juneteenth. What's the spirit of that? And so it made me think of the text in the Bible where the Pharisees are the religious leaders. And we love our religious leaders because we need them, right? And they built a fence around the laws that they had because they didn't want to break them. So they said, okay, on the Sabbath, you can't work, and you can't walk this far, and you can't cook, and you can't. And they set this fence around it. So if you kept these you can't rules, then if you did all of that, you wouldn't break the actual law. And that's why they did that. So it was like their protection kind of thing. It's like they're protecting themselves. So Jesus was walking out one day like he can do, you know, just trying to be himself, and he seems to piss people off so easily. But he was out walking around, and they picked some heads of grain off the wheat, you know, and the Pharisee said, "Look, what are you doing? Why are you doing what is unlawful on the Sabbath?" And Jesus answered, "Have you never read what David did when he and his companions were hungry and in need? In the days of Abiathar," which is not how you say that, but if you say it with confidence, it sounds like you know what you're doing. "In the days of Abiathar, the high priest, he entered the house of God and ate the consecrated bread, which is unlawful only for priests to eat. And he also gave some to his companions." And then Jesus said to him, "The Sabbath was made for man," or humankind, "not humankind for Sabbath." And the point was the spirit of the Sabbath is a day for nourishing, for replenishing. What's the spirit of the Sabbath? It isn't about don't do all these things. And so you're in a crisis and you need to eat. You break into the synagogue and you take the consecrated bread and you possibly eat it. That's okay. And so he said, so the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath. So I say, what's the spirit of Juneteenth? The spirit of Juneteenth is creating equity. It's about how do we can continue to make equitable decisions about equitable opportunities for people who, they're equal, they have equal opportunities, but they aren't in situations where they can grab hold and do the things that some of us can. And I'm talking to the Caucasians out there. I'm talking primarily to you, because there's things that we have thrown at us and are capable for us that isn't there for other people. And so how do we make the world more equitable? It's how we're going to make the world more equal, is using equity is where we get to be more equal. The other part of it is I think of like the spirit is, I think of in 1 Corinthians 12, because I'm not going to read them, but there's a whole list of like spiritual gifts. And if you read through those, I don't see equality or equity as spiritual gifts, because that was not necessarily an issue of what they would use back then. Because, women were like property. So you talk about equal, they weren't going to use it that way, right? So now that we're in this where we are today, we can say, no, equality and equity can both be spiritual gifts. Because spiritual gifts are things that you use to strengthen a community. So equality and equity are spiritual gifts. They're things we can use to strengthen our community, our unity of Tacoma community. So I want to just close with that, saying, where can you be equitable? I don't want you to, I was going to say, I probably said things that people are like uncomfortable with, or you might judge them. That's not the point. The point is I wanted to say some things that don't get said. So was I perfect? No, not at all. But I'm going to take the chance because I want to see something different. So happy Juneteenth, the spirit of Juneteenth. Equity. Thank you. Let's welcome Jean back.
That was great. There's a story every moment, a notch in every tree. From your button nose to your pinky toes, come share a tale with me. Quivering of season change, no pushback on the fold. This rumpled, tumbled, tender heart has worn its hand untold. Our weary, traveled bodies have rustled tomes of time. There's grace in moving slower, an atlas of many lines. Weathered every storm thus far, the wind may take its toll. Carry on and on we do, a crown of learned souls. There's a story every moment, a notch in every tree. From your button nose to your pinky toes, come toast this life with me. When day is gone, I'll hug you hard and bid you warm adieu. Hold you in my deepest heart until we meet anew.
Thank you very much, Jean. With that, let's move into a time of meditation. Just get yourself comfortable. Sit back, relax. If you're at home, lay back. Get comfortable. If you fall asleep, it's okay. It just means you needed it. But focus on your breath to start with. We focus on our breath because that is our connection with life as we breathe in and breathe out. So just listen to your breath as you breathe in and as you breathe out. Feel your chest rise. Notice it. We all have a story. And I know, like myself, I find myself, I'm getting older. But the story doesn't end. We can still add to our story no matter what age we are. The story of making a difference. The story of putting out a helping hand. The story of walking alongside somebody. The story of sacrifice. But all those stories are different from being complacent. So I'm going to give you some time just to wander in your own mind for a little bit and think about your story. Where do you want your story to go from here when you think about creating a more equal world, a more equal planet, a more equal unity of Tacoma? What do you want to add to your story? What actions do you want to do? What attitude do you want to do? What do you want to say? Open yourself up to whatever comes to you. Just let your mind wander. Ask yourself, where does my story go from here? Maybe your story is simply doing research, reading new materials that help you look at the world differently. You are God's hands. You are God's feet. How do you want to use your hands? How do you want to use your feet? You are God's mouth. You are God's mind. How do you want to use those for good? How do you want to use those to bring more equality? How do you want to use those things to create equity? Give yourself up to the divine. Be a tool. Be a vessel. Maybe you don't know where you want to go next, but you're just willing to go. As we come back together, just be reminded that you are an amazing gift from God to us, to the world. And I thank you for being in it. And so it is.
You're just a speck no one can see, flung on the wind with the birds in the trees. glistening leaf you rest upon. Falling flora brings you back down. You land in a field atop a daisy. A girl comes along, plucking loves who loves me not. Petals fall one by one. At least you landed on somebody loves me. Twirling down in the breeze, still you wonder what might have been had you been on the last petal to cling. You hit a dandelion, gone to seed, fluff puffy landing, like the room full of pillows on I Dream of Jeannie, blown into the blue on the breath of a boy. Floating up on the warmth, looking down upon a smile. You dance with the wind, the one who loves you, flying up to the sky, your best friend in the world, together by and by.
Thank you so, so much. And Jean Mann, you can get her music. Go to her website, jeanmann.net. You can also you can stream her. She's on Spotify and Bandcamp. So check her out. Beautiful. I'm going to turn it over to your pastor, Lori.
Yay! Hi, everybody. It's really nice to have you here. Thank you both for being here. I just want to give them another round of applause, please, for their just being here and just bringing your consciousness and your presence to what we have going on here on Juneteenth and Father's Day. So thank you all for being here. I'd like to first thank everyone and to say that we have a lot of things coming that are going to be happening here at Unity of Tacoma. One thing we are going to be doing this week, and you can choose to be part of it or not, but we're going to be going to the Black Night Market, which is this weekend. Well, it's this Friday, actually, right down the street from us. So we are 5401 South Tacoma Way, and they are 5415 on the same side of the street. So it's just a couple of doors down from us. And there is going to be a Black Night Market where there will be entrepreneurs, vendors, musicians, representing the Black community, and so please come out. If you don't go with us, please come out just for them and to be able to support Black local businesses and just being able to show that we are trying to support and give that equity and provide that equity for people, and know that I'm just really looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So that's this Friday, the Black Night Market at 5415 South Tacoma Way, a couple doors down from us, and they are going to be there between 4 p.m. in the afternoon to 9 p.m. So they're going to be there for quite a while. With parking, it's kind of interesting here on South Tacoma Way, but there's a lot of street parking, and it's just a really good area just to do some walking around. So the area is starting to open up. There's a lot of things going on. So come check us out. Come check out the South Tacoma Way and the new businesses here, and support your locally owned Black businesses this weekend. We also have next week, we will be here, I will be back doing the message, and we have next week Christine Yes Young, and she will be the musician. So I'm really looking forward to having her back. And we'll be talking that day about just exploring what is our why here at Unity of Tacoma. We're going to talk a little bit about Simon Sinek, if you're familiar with his work. And so we're going to talk about why we do what we do here at Unity of Tacoma. And that leads into our new IDEA program, which is inclusion, I got to get it right myself, inclusion, diversity, equity, and access. And so we have this idea that we can provide equity for a lot of different individuals. So we have, in a couple of weeks, Stefan Plummer is going to be coming and speaking with us, and she is representing. Unfortunately, I couldn't get her in June, but we're going to get her in July, and she's going to talk about the LGBTQIA plus community. And so I'm really excited to be able to have that opportunity with her. And every first Sunday of the month, we're going to have another representation from that community to be able to provide an opportunity for people to have a voice and to be able to talk about what they're doing and providing some resources for the community. So what we were talking about today, what Cindy brought, is really important to us here at Unity, and we want to be able to explore that and be able to be the best resource or provide the best resources, or even just point people in the direction of the best resources that they can have. So we're really excited about that. So next week, we're going to be talking about why we're doing what we're doing, and I'm really excited about that. And Stefan in a couple of weeks. And so I want to also talk about, if you are joining us online and you're new to us, I would like to welcome you. But I'd also like you to comment. If you're watching on YouTube, or if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching from our website, there's an area below the video where you can comment and say anything. Say hello, be nice, but just reach out to us and let us know that you're there, because we want to be able to connect with you. Even though you're not here with us in the building, we know you're an important part of Unity of Tacoma, so please interact with us. We'd love to hear from you. And also, because you're on the internet, check out our social media sites. So we have Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and TikTok and all kinds of places. We're just everywhere. So please just let people know what you're doing on your social media. Share our talk from today, talking about inclusion, diversity, equity, and access. And then we are here to promote that, and it's a very important thing to us. And also just let people know that, yeah, hey, we're pretty cool here. And so let them know on your social media. And if you don't have social media, and there are people who choose not to have it, just tell them. Tell them where you're at. Call them up on the phone, say, hey, I'm checking out this place, and they have these wonderful talks and messages and meditations, and you can join us at 10 a.m. on Sunday, or you can go anytime during the week to our website at unityoftacoma.org, and you can check out all the messages that we've had previously, or you can go to our YouTube channel and check it out anytime you can, any time of day. We also end our diaper drive today. We've had a diaper drive that's been going on since Mother's Day. And so today is the last day. We have a pile of diapers that will be going to support the Family Housing Network, which is also down the street from us, but the other direction, where the night market's going to be this way. It's this way a couple of blocks. And they help families who are transitioning from homelessness into having their own homes. And they require a lot of resources, like diapers, for example. And so we decided we would do that, and all of the diapers will go to them to be able to help the families who are transitioning. So we're really excited about that. And, okay, I can keep talking? Okay. And so this is what's going to happen. This is our last day. We're going to be taking those over there, and so we're really excited about that. I would also like to offer the opportunity for you to donate to what's going on here at Unity of Tacoma, to all the outreach programs that we have, the ability to be able to provide the resources and to help people get to where they would like to be in their lives. And so if you're interested in supporting us to be able to support others, we would like to offer an opportunity for you to go to our website at unityoftacoma.org/donate to give via PayPal. You can do that. We can also take a donation via Zelle with your telephone number, with our telephone number, 253-576-3225, or you can mail us a check to Unity of Tacoma, P.O. Box 112289, Tacoma, Washington, 98411. So there are so many things that we have planned to be able to reach out to the community, to be able to support people in this area, and we just would really like to be able to include you and to include your consciousness and your energy in this project and as we move forward, because we're really excited about this being the future of Unity of Tacoma. So, do you have a benediction that you would like to share? I'm going to bring Cindy back, and then in the meantime, I want to thank you for being here. It's been wonderful. It's been wonderful to have Cindy here. It's been wonderful to have Jean here. It's just nice to have new voices, fresh faces, and just being able to share our thoughts and ideas. So thank you so much.
May you go forth this week and be the best you. May you find ways where you can reach out to others, where you can take an equitable step to help promote Black Lives Matter, to help promote GLBTQIA+ needs, to be able to say, we stand by all folks. What is your role going to be? Take forth courage. I'm blessing you with that courage. So go forth. Amen.
So we'll have the closing song. I don't know if you want to sing with me. I always start it kind of low because otherwise it gets really up at the chipmunk zone. All right. Thank you. This is Let There Be Peace on Earth. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be a joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment, peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.